Hey guys, Cyber here, and today we are back with more Analogue, a hate story. And we're basically where we left off. So, with now avoiding the crisis of the entire ship exploding and me freaking out about how to do the power control and shit, and mistyping shit, and not being able to speak English, which is normal. Because I can't do it when I'm not looking at English. Alright, so we have 9 questions to choose from, and to refresh my memory. So we got Mute, how are you? How do you feel about me? Why don't you treat me with more respect? I don't know why that would be relevant. What do you really look like? How old are you? That's never nice to ask. How do you feel about Mute? Let's ask this one. What is this? You talk to Mute? I don't know what she told you, but you really shouldn't listen to her. All she's ever did was gossip. And I'm certain she hasn't changed a bit since back then. Please don't trust her. She spins everything to make everyone look bad, no matter what. Please promise me? I'm gonna lie, and I'm gonna say I'm gonna promise. Thank you, I really appreciate that. At least give me a fair chance. Well, if you show me one of her questions, I'll tell you the truth, but I don't think it's what she'll expect. No, she didn't really have any friends. Here, let's share this one. I guess might as well jump to that. Look, there's something you need to understand first. After waking up from stasis, I only had one single friend. Oh. I meant, now that you're here. Anyways, before, it was just her. The queen, my husband's wife, Ryu Jaehawa. I wrote about her in my diary. I'll just show you. It's probably better if you read it yourself. These are from right after I got married. How did that translate into that? Alright, let's go read these messages. Just us wives and little sisters. Dear Diary, I guess it's been forever since I cared enough to write anything down. I just haven't seen much point. Since my last entry, I got married, moved into the palace, and lost my virginity. Okay. Apparently, for a girl my age, none of these things really are all that weird. The queen finally insisted on taking me the night right after I first slept with dearest husband. I've been expecting it. My sisters warned me that she would probably be jealous, and I'd just have to endure it. She outranks me, and I would simply have to no-toe to her if we need it. What the hell is that? Okay, whatever. We're moving on. I haven't had to yet, though. We had tea together, and she had started by acting friendly. I'm sure sister was right. I'll get the brunt of her anger soon enough, but today she was friendly. How are you holding up? She asked. After we finished with the tea, I shrugged. Do trust me. I know how hard it can be for a newlywed. I've been through it myself, but I was at least older. You probably miss your family, don't you? That's what I would expect from any good girl. So I nodded. It gets easier with time. I had to respond. I'm sorry. Am I bothering you? You can leave if you wish. I simply thought you might like some company. I wasn't sure how to respond to that either. I just clasped my hands and shook my head. I just wanted to be sure, she said. There was a long pause that followed. Finally, she asked, how was last night? I was surprised that she was willing to bring up the subject, figuring that it was Segued her to be vindictive towards me for sleeping with her husband. I shrugged as she continued. I just know he can be rough. Nobody ever talked about it. Nobody ever talked about those duties with me. Then she smiled, and I almost felt like I could drop my guard. I had no idea what to expect my first time. Do believe me, I'm not jealous. There's nothing to be jealous of. Oh, he just got slammed! But do tell me, how was it? It made me think back on last night. Honestly, it was the best night I ever had since waking up in the future. Wow, okay, apparently, so to the old bride, he's like nothing. He's floppy dick. Yeah, well, I guess this would be since her first time she'd had nothing more, but then it's but okay. It was the best night I ever had since I woke up in the future. Everyone, my mother, my sisters, and now my queen, warned me that it would be bad. It would be a duty and nothing more, but I honestly did love it. I would have let him keep me up all night if he had the energy for it. Now we're getting into the more porn things. Alright. Welcome to my channel. We do weird shit. Well, at least for each weird shit. In this case. I guess while I'm thinking about all that, I let out a slight smile. I caught myself, but not before she noticed. Oh, did you enjoy it then? She asked, touching my arm. I jumped. Please, please, be at ease. It's perfectly alright, too. So as long as you know it's just for him. There is absolutely no shame in it. There is none. I expected her to jump onto something passive-aggressive from that, but she didn't. All she did was change the subject, and she said that she was really worried about me. Maybe she wasn't so bad. Okay, this entire letter confused me, but okay. Little sister! Dear diary, attending to my husband has been easier than I was afraid it would be. Attending is easier than I was afraid it would be. So she was afraid it was going to be easy to begin with? Alright, whatever. Yes, these days when it requires more strength to usually keep going, I'm still getting increasingly more sick. Nothing will change that. But it's not so bad, really. All I have is to do is dote on him. Dote? What the fuck is dote? I need a fucking dictionary! And trying to anticipate his desires. And he's happy with me. No abuse or anything. Sure, it's not like not if I like him. He's an ugly 40-year-old man who only cares about politics and never tells me anything. Love, well, that's certainly no concern. I don't know where I even got the impression that it was something that it could happen in a marriage. I thought it was something from the past, but well, I was young before I got put into stasis. It must have been a mistake of childhood. But so long as I'm told, I'm not mistreated, like I was by my sister. Sleeping with him feels good. I really hope I don't get pregnant soon. I don't want that to stop. Doing that is really the only thing that makes me actually happy these days. Well, that and Johan talks with me. She's nice. She keeps me company when I stay up. When I stay up to wait for his return. She fetches servants to take me to bed on those days. I'm too feverish to sit for too long, and she really just talks to me as if I'm a friend. I don't really understand why, but I guess she really doesn't hate me after all. Do let me tell you, she said one evening while she was brushing my hair. I always wanted a little sister growing up, and that's how I think of you. Does that make sense? I shrugged. It was nice of her. It felt so relaxing to let her touch my hair like that. She wasn't waiting for just a response. Anyway, by now she knows better. She just keeps talking nicely, kindly to me. None of this has to do with the idea that she just killed all these people. This was just more about like her sex life after she got married. Alright, fine, I'll show her this message. Tell me more. She was really kind. She was good to me. She really was. I take it you want to know more about the marriage then. What are you interested? Well, the husband is nothing, so I guess Jaehwa? Then you're in luck. She's in all of these entries. Well, I will. She was really the only thing in my life worth writing about for the most part. There's one in there that she wrote herself about our husband, and you can see for yourself. She's a lot stronger than I ever was, so you can see for yourself why I admired her. And well, just read them, all right? Right. So, illiterate. Muteness. Arguing with the Emperor. I have to, okay, out of curiosity, I have to read this. Just because, obviously, mute. Dear Diary, I've been thinking a lot about how close my death must have been now. Lately, I've been getting prone to fainting spells. It's probably going right along with my diminishing appetite. If the doctor from the past was right, I still got a year left to live, maybe more. He said it wasn't very likely to get bad enough to kill me until I was at least 18. Although maybe all those years in stasis might have changed that. I don't know. But if he was right, if I haven't lost track of time, I'm 16 and a half right now. So there's still a while. I've been trying to hide the signs of sickness. Even if I could explain, I know full well that nobody would believe me. So far hiding it has been mostly working. Although I did have one of my fainting spells when my husband was on top of me. He wasn't angry at me though. I don't think he cared. All I write about these days is sex with my husband and conversations with his wife. The Kim family would be proud, I guess. But those two things are all that are really worthwhile in my life. I have other responsibilities, of course. They're just not that interesting. And that's about it. Anyway, the Queen has continued to be nice to me. She finally figured it out. When we were having tea one afternoon, she was talking about nothing in particular, and she asked me some questions that I shrugged to. I hope you don't take this the wrong way, she then said. But there is something I would like to ask you. I nodded. I don't think I ever heard your voice before. I nodded again. Why don't you ever speak to me? Are you just saving that for the Emperor? I don't know how to respond. She was so close to getting it, to bringing up the subject that I wasn't able to. Yet that wasn't the right question. So I shook my head and hoped that her next question would be. It was. Then, Hyun-ae, she said uncertainly, are you mute? I felt like screaming yes at the top of my lungs. I was so happy that she finally figured it out. I smiled. I was about to nod enthusiastically, but I suddenly stopped. I stopped. What if she thought less of me? If I said yes? If she knew that the reason why I was so quiet and demure wasn't because of any sort of discipline? Those were things people like me liked about me. Would she stop liking me if she knew? What if she told my husband? I was so terrified I couldn't think of any correct answer. If I had said no, I was sure she would ask to hear my voice, what my voice sounded like, and I would be forced to disobey. And if I nodded, then she would know that it wasn't really that hard to be a good wife. And and I'm sure she would talk to her husband about it, so yeah, he'd know too. But while I stared at her in terror, thinking of how to respond, she sighed and sipped her tea. Don't worry about it, she said. You do not have to answer. Please do forget that I even asked. Wait a minute. Wasn't she able to talk before? You know, no one ever noticed that until her. Nobody cared. No one even thought about it, or even cared enough to cared about me to find out. But she did care. She actually paid attention. She was great. But didn't other times she say that she was actually yelling at people? Why did she have to die? What? Weakness. Arguing with the Emperor. Yu Jaehwa. My concern over the pale bride's condition has grown. Lately, she has seemed to grown even quieter. If even such a thing is possible for a mute girl. Well, perhaps saying she is mute is an assumption too far for my part. I tried asking her directly, but she seemed too scared to answer. This simply makes me more suspicious, and I would like to know why. I addressed my husband on the matter, telling him that I would wish to speak with the woman of the Kim family house, to see if I could find out what is wrong. He shrugged me off, saying, "Don't, they're valuable subjects. The son is someone I have my eye on in particular. The politics in this situation are far too delicate for you to be meddling with." I cleared my throat. He might be my husband and an emperor, but I would not let would not let that stop me from being bold. My dear husband, I do not care. I said flatly. I am worried about the girl, and I believe that talking to her mother might shed some light on the matter. The son is no concern to me. I don't see why it matters. She's the perfect woman. Why are you jealous? He said, rolling his eyes at me in a gesture that he was only able to use on me and his servants. Ever since becoming emperor, no one had the patience for when he was a child, and I don't have it now, either. Inho, dearest, do you believe that well-being of your wife is a political matter, or even external matter? I asked. He didn't. So why would you say it's a domestic matter? I asked. He reluctantly agreed. Then it adds a domestic matter. It is the responsibility of the woman of the house, is it not? Please, tell me. You are obviously more well-read in the classics than I said, both of us knowing he wasn't. Fine, he said. But just because it is your responsibility does not mean I cannot rule over you. I can't rule over you. He left the silent follow-up. I don't have to take this from you. You do know that my concerns are valid, though, I replied. If you value my opinion, you will let me speak to the Kim mother. There was a pause. Then he raised his hand in annoyance. Very well, do it. It's woman's business. I do not want part in it, regardless. Then he shook his head. Why must all our conversations be arguments? I smiled to him and left. He already knows the answer. Why does she have to die? Hello. Dear Diary, you always forget how terrible it is to cry yourself to sleep until it happens. It's the ultimate feeling of helplessness. What's new there, right? I miss her. Even if she scared me, I miss her so damn much. Jaehwa was the only one who was sympathetic to me. Why did she have to die? Is that my fate? Anything that makes whatever short life I have bearable must go? Fate hates me. I decided. I don't know what killed her. I overheard one of the servants saying that the doctor claimed it was too much worry, causing an excess of wood in the spleen. What? I wasn't aware that humans are trees now. Whatever. Which he claimed to be common in oversensitive women. I was baffled by the absurdity of at the time. I still am now. My only friend is dead. Her diagnosis is absolutely insane. What do you even say to something like that? Well, I guess it's not like I need to worry about knowing what to say. Oh damn, we're in the year that everyone's gonna die. But in light of that, it doesn't surprise me that no one ever believed I was sick. With medicine that stupid? Why would they? All they do is reinforce how hopeless everything is. I just constantly wonder, what did my father or my own doctor think that people would be smarter in the future? That medicine would get better. My servant has been helping me get through all the funeral stuff. Well, I mean, she's been guiding me through the rites, practically doing them for me. Really, I'm so weak and so stunned. I don't even know how I've been getting out of bed. I couldn't describe any of the ceremony. It's all a blur. It's a lot of black dresses. I suppose it's my only impression in crying. Lots of crying from me. Alright, what does Hyun-ae have to say? Look, please, do you trust me? I'll try. Please understand my position at the time. My world was so small, and I thought I lost my only friend. Then I'll give you the last two entries. They have the whole story. Just please don't judge me when you read them, please. You okay? We get the last two. Oh, illiterate. Back to hell. I killed them all. Let's check out illiterate first, and then we'll jump over onto her last two entries. The more she lives in my house, the more I'm so confused by the mystery that is the Pale Bride. No wonder my husband has been favoring the Kim family lately. Their daughter seems to be the perfect woman. She's not simply a pale beauty. She's always too shy to speak at all, let alone argue. Seems to hang on his every word, and it turns out is actually completely humble in her education that she cannot even read. Or rather, she cannot read normal characters. I've observed her writing to herself. Perhaps what may be a diary. When I was asked what it was, she wouldn't say, but quick to hide it. I could not recognize a single character on her screen. However, they seem simplified compared to the regular writing. Perhaps she has invented a writing system just for herself. It is very strange. Did you ever receive those letters I sent you to your house before I arrived? I asked her. Curious. Seemingly, she had. Did you read them? And her response was worried, as if she was scared that I would be angry to find out that she hadn't. I was not, of course. I'm sorry. I had assumed that you were able to read. That's when I found out she wasn't. I offered to read them to her, which seemed quite enthusiastic. I thought I am likely to leave out some parts. However, I had a difficulty bringing myself to writing the more embarrassing parts of the family history, bringing myself to talk about them, even if I know she would never say anything. It is just far too much. Like all these things with her, I cannot tell her whether her enthusiasm is sincere or an effort to make me happy. This troubles me. Let's find out a little bit more about this. Of course I wasn't illiterate. I could read just fine. Those stupid Chinese base characters. I mean, I can understand them now. Everything except my diary entries is translated from them. It's such a dumb way of writing, though. It makes everything come out so slitted compared to proper Korean. Well, anyway, you're showing me that because you're interested in her dominations? Aye, sure. Then here, I'll give you the letters she sent. They give all the details, even the ones she was too embarrassed to tell me about at the time. You can probably guess which part she cut out. It's pretty obvious. The incest thing that she never told me about at the time. Having to read about it now, I really don't blame her. And well, here you can see what I mean for yourself. Alright. Though we're not really interested in the illiteracy part. We are more interested in the back to hell. Dear Diary, this sounds so pathetic to say. I've tried rewriting this a million times just to make it sound less pathetic for me. I simply cannot. There were two things that made my life worthwhile. Two things that made this last year before I die be bearable. The first was Jahuan's company, being the one person that was friendly to me, and the second was sharing a bed with my husband. For the past few months, that's what I've been saving all my energy for. That brief, precious half an hour every few nights, where I would feel fulfilled. Fulfilled. If only in the most literal sense, it is the most loving feeling. And now I'll never feel it again. The two things that my last year of my life worth living, gone forever. These past few nights I've been trying to get the Emperor's attention in that way, pleading silently for his affection with no luck. On the fourth, or was it the fifth day, he finally took me aside and said painful annoyances in his voice. Painful annoyances in his voice. Enough! Stop that! It's completely inappropriate. You're supposed to be mourning. Show some damn chastity, or do you have no respect for my wife and your queen at all? He snapped. When I looked confused, he just lectured me. When I cried, he sighed, held me tightly, then left the room. I haven't spoken to him since. But later that day, my servant came to my room with good news. I was supposed to go visit my family for a couple months. While the house is in mourning for Juehua. I couldn't argue, of course, even if I was able to. So just like that, I was sent back to hell. I was dressed in the usual veil, so nobody would see my face, as I was escorted back to the Kim house in the middle of the night. You're in space, it's always night. Mother and father were there briefly to greet me, and in spite of how I felt about them, I put on my bravest smile and bowed, and nodded politely to their questions about how I was doing. when they had left to go to bed. When they had to go to bed and left, leaving me alone with sister. Young-suk was nowhere to be seen. "Hi," she said. "I never thought you would end up visiting us again so soon." I shrugged. "Well, let's have some tea. It's just us still around," she said. I nodded. It seemed like it was a good enough idea. There was a pause. "Well, go make it," she snapped, removing any doubt that she might treat me with any sort of friendliness. Of course, I made the tea. I didn't disobey her anymore. "Thanks," she said. "So Young-suk is out, attending to official business at the moment. You should avoid him. He's still angry at you because father-in-law finds you more important than the family. Finds you more important to the family than his own son. Can you blame him?" I had no idea what she was talking about, and she just continued. "So you really can't talk to him? Oh, I guess you can't really do that, can you? Haha, well, you know what I mean." Yes, I knew exactly what she meant. "I'm surprised you're back so soon, though. Especially now that you don't have to share your husband. Does that mean you're the primary wife now?" "I don't know." "Does that make you the queen? Oh, what great fortune you have. Father-in-law must be so proud of you." I stared at her, wishing nothing more than being able to kill her through sheer force of rage. How could she possibly say something so awful? My only friend was dead, and here she was taunting me. What an awful thing to do! But I couldn't hate her to death, no matter how much I tried. So instead, I tried holding back angry tears to hide my weakness. I couldn't do that either. Dear Diary, I was far too feverish to do any real cooking, so my servant was doing all the work for me that night. When father came in, I think he was drunk, or maybe just tired, or stupid. Probably the last one. "You know, child," he said to me, "you grew up to be a wonderful daughter." I was shocked to hear him say that. I waved my servant out of the kitchen. I never heard even the slightest indication of that before. For the briefest moment, it even made me happy to hear that. That surprised me, that I would actually feel that way. As a kid, I never would have wanted his approval, so why now? He continued to make me wonder. When he asked, "Do you remember what you were like as a child?" I nodded, but I wasn't certain I did. "You were temperamental. You argued all the time. You didn't want to get married. When the time came, you just didn't even know your place, you know?" That's right, I didn't back then, when I thought there was a point to being defiant. Why was that, I wondered. That was the part of that amazes me now. I try to think of a reason why I might want to be defiant, why I valued independence. And at first I couldn't even think of anything. I had forgotten. I've forgotten entirely. Don't tell Young-suk. But it really scared me. You were always the family's best hope for prosperity, but that attitude of yours, I thought I'd never manage to disvalue. Of those crazy, uncivilized ideas of yours, he said. While I tried to think of what they were. There were times that I thought it was a mistake to hatch you, but you came through. You really did. I know it had been painful, but I'm proud of you. Then he patted me on the head. You turned out to be a good girl. That's all I wanted to say. It was hard raising you to be a proper woman, but you turned out to be perfect. Thank you, he said. I stared, speechless. I tried to remember what crazy uncivilized ideas was he talking about, thinking about those days or back when I was frozen. I tried to remember I had dreams of what adulthood would be, but they were so unimaginably different from what the reality turned out to be that they seemed impossible, completely impossible, nothing more than a childhood fantasy without a shred of realism to. I tried to think of what they were, to imagine them. In those dreams, I was strong, independent. I just wasn't a wife in those dreams. I had a job working as a ship engineer, following in the footsteps of my father, my real father. I wasn't married in those dreams. I was happy to go on dates with boys my age in the ship's plaza and fall in love before making any commitments. I dreamed of being free. The more I thought about it, the more I was certain that what those dreams were about, that's what I wanted. But father, Kim Jung-soo, rather, had made me disavow me of those notions. I learned to stop arguing, to stop trying to fight, to stop dreaming of those things. In other words, I learned how to be a proper woman, quote unquote. And he was proud of that. Proud of destroying my dreams. And now I would die under the house of that man, silenced, broken, hopeless, and unloved. I was overwhelmed by the strongest feelings that I have ever felt in my life, deeper bitterness, and the most powerful resentment I could imagine. I looked at the knife near my hand. I wondered, could I kill him before I died? Could I at least have justice? I tried to lift the knife. My hand twitched. It was too hard to keep a grip. It was too weak. I'd never be able to do it. He smiled at me. Sorry, please go ahead and keep cooking. I won't distract you more. Then just as he was about to go out the door, he asked, take care of yourself. At that moment I vowed that I wouldn't worry anymore about those people who had hurt me. I'd take care of myself. I couldn't stab him to death. I was too weak for that. But then I remembered that there were other ways. If I disable life support, I can kill him. All those others too. It'd be quick and it'd be easy. Not one of them don't deserve it. And all I needed was to disable in the admin password. It's perfect. So, you disabled life support. That's why it was also disabled. Well then, there you are then. Now you know it's true. I did it. And I do what she said I did. I'm not even gonna lie. I really wished I never met her. I really wish you. I really wish you'd never met her. I wish you really. She never said anything to you. Good grief, I can't read the most simplest lines. I just thought it would be nice the way things were with us before. Things starting out well. I got to be cheery for the first time in my life since I was a child. Talking about actual romantic things together, having fun with cosplay, and just having someone there to talk to, someone who isn't interested in shutting me up. But now, well, please, you read my diary. You have to know it's not. I didn't. You have to understand, right? Even if you think what I did was wrong, look, I've never been really been dishonest with you. Fine, I lied about being an AI, but I told you the truth. I could have deceived you, but I didn't. Please, you still trust me, right? I'd never really lied to you. Not seriously. You don't have to think what I did was acceptable, but at least tell me you trust me. Sure. You do, really. Oh, my word. I mean, of course, I'm so sorry. I should have had faith in you. I really should have. I'm really bad at this. But thank you so much. I can't believe I even doubted you for a second. Look, I mean that means a lot to me. It means so much. I mean, I'm sure what I did wasn't right. I know. I'm sure you don't think it was. I just want you to understand, alright? Damn it, I didn't even press. I didn't even get to read it, damn it. Okay, for someone as good to me as you have been, I want you to at least please understand. You don't have to forgive me, just hear me out, of course. Thank you so much. You're really a good person, much better than me. Thank you. Then, very well. It's probably better if I show you. There's a data block that contains all the logs that matter. But my family encrypted it because, well, it should be obviously why after you read it. You need to drop the terminal and type decrypt block 7. Let me know once you've done that and I'll show you. Alright. So, yeah, we don't care about that. That's not really that important. We just need to drop the terminal. And decrypt. Alright, sweet. We successfully decrypted it. Very well. These are really hard for me to read. I haven't seen them since I wrote them, and I haven't seen my family's will ever. Well, I think I found. Here, I've added some. Just please read them. If you want to know the whole story, those entries will explain. I thought the whole entries I explained it already. The nightmarish bride, mother, new anxiety, and grief. We have way too much to read. I'm thinking What is this clock? Oh, recent messages. Unread messages. Let's just go in the log. Let's see. These questions. Like block 10? Oh. Whoa, okay. Holy crap. Okay, so she's going over just some. Wait, oh, wait. They just mentioned something about mute. Okay, I will not tell you to avoid court politics entirely, so as long as you do not cause trouble, I will suggest that you simply watch from a distance. The temptations may exist to meddle, especially if you even talk to the artificial girl, Mute, who lives inside the computer. She is a gossip and a friend to Smith Noble family, and is responsible for revealing much to what they try to keep hidden. She may seem fickle, but she does belong to the right loyal. Nevertheless, mentally is not in your best interest. Do not play politics for your sake, for the sake of being Beatrice's wife. Okay, so that didn't really help me. Back to our blocks. Thing new and well, there's plenty of new in this one. So we got a nightmarish bride, mother, peace at last. None of these are at the year that everyone died. And these all seem... yeah. Actually, let's see. So we've been working on Hyun-ae for a bit, so what we can do, let's swap over to the override terminal. And let's start working on Mute. It probably one of the other cores probably activates them both. Probably 5 or 4, or we have 6 too, don't we? I guess we just keep going with whatever we got here. All right, the Nightmarish Pride. It's seeming that in the years I spent visiting my parents, everything has gone to hell. My family is without his knowing. Clearly, I should have not left. He has an idea, but he does not understand how bad things have gotten. When I left, it seemed all under control. The Pale Bride would be soon would be the right age to be married to the Emperor. Soon enough, we'd be able to use the connection to bring her favor to the family. A good plan, except it turns out the Pale Bride is not even close to ready for marriage age. It has nothing to do with it. It's the maturity that she lacks. When she first woke, right before I left, she seemed a little confused. That was hardly unexpected. She had a whole new family to get accustomed to, and it seemed obvious enough that anyone born so far in the past would have some difficulty adjusting to modern life. But this is far beyond that. There is something wrong with that child. When I got back, the first thing Young Seok's wife did was tell me about how sorry she was for not being able to control the child. I rolled my eyes, as if a grown woman couldn't handle someone of her age. How are you going to raise my grandson like that? I asked. She was quiet and let me see the Pale Bride for myself. The first time I saw Young Seok trying to get her to do something as simple as sort out the laundry, she wasn't just disobedient. She was openly defiant. When I stepped in to admonish her, it had absolutely no effect. All she did was argue back at me. She tried every approach I could think of, appealing with filiality, explaining how important a virtue obedience was, even trying to appeal to sentimentally everything. She just kept saying the same thing, that I wasn't fair to make her do it. Here's an obvious concern, and it's what I said to her. Are you going to tell your husband that he's not being fair when he wants something from you? I thought that would put some sense into her, but no, she just answered yes. There's no way this unruly child could possibly be marriageable. Not like this. She'd be sent back within a day, and with a good reason. What man could possibly live with a nightmare like her in his life? Okay, so this is... So she can speak here, though. Why can you speak here, mother? Huh? I don't even know what to say about her even now. This is the first time I read that she wrote. Read what she wrote, and it just, well, here's more. Here, read them for yourself. Oh, I don't want to read more about. Damn it. Getting more letters that I don't want to read. So, Mother Pilgrim. So, you would figure they would change the Pilbride text to saying Hyun-ae because we now know who she is, but I guess they'll just keep labeled as that. Because we already got the admin access. We talked to Butte for about 5 minutes, and then the nuclear reactor started exploding. The good news is, health-wise, I seem to be doing much better this month. I'm sure this isn't a permanent thing. It's happened before. I can't really remember how the doctor from the past explained it anymore, but he said it was pretty normal, and not something that I can get my hopes up about. Still, some days this month I actually had enough energy to want to move around. Excuse me. Not that I could move around, of course. I can't leave the house. A good girl shouldn't, or is what everyone else is saying. But I have the energy to. At least that's something. The big news is that the woman who's supposed to be my adopted mother came back. I didn't really see her much before she left. I might as well be meeting a new person. I wish I could say I had high hopes for her. That I had enough that maybe she'd be fine, but that's a lie, though. I knew that she'd be as bad as the rest of them, as the rest the moment I saw her, and she was. Of course, she was. She's even worse than the sister-in-law. She gives me these awful lectures. I can't even describe them. They're that horrible. She's that horrible. Hail, Minju. If you're so worried, why don't you just explain everything to her, simple and rationally? Jung-soo asked me. My response was obvious. She's a woman. We're not particularly rational, he said. If you know what I mean. I could hardly do it. But coming from a woman, perhaps she will understand what it is that is all good for her. It's all for her own good. Maybe I said, doubting it. But I tried anyway. She took her time arriving after I summoned her to my room. Can we speak? I asked her. I tried to keep my voice calm. She glared, then snapped, "Fine." I asked her to sit, but she refused. Look, I said, trying to speak to her as an equal. I still don't think my husband was right. But it was worth trying. I've been told you'd rather be called Hyun-ae. Is that right? She said yes, bitterly. Not much to go off of. That's a very pretty name, I said. Thanks, she said, but her voice was still unfriendly. My parents gave it to me, I said. Wait, what? I'm getting confused. My parents gave it to me. I said, you must. Oh, okay, okay. I said, you must miss them very much. She nodded. I don't understand, Hyun-ae. Why are you? Oh, were you so difficult with them too? No, she said. They were nice. They actually cared about me. Nothing like you people. I sighed. I care about you, Hyun-ae. You're a part of the family. You're a Kim. Your parents are our ancestors, and I know they think it's very bad and very important that we raise you right. If you want to be a bad unfilial daughter and treat us without any respect, well, you wouldn't be the first. You really think an old woman like me really cares that much about your opinion of me? I thought maybe I'd try to appeal to her selfishness. Her marriage is important to the family, but clearly she doesn't care about filiality. It's you I'm worried about. Do you think any husband is really going to put up with the way you are for even a second? She kept glaring at me. That's all you keep talking about. Marriage, marriage, marriage. I'm 14. I'm 14 years old. What's wrong with you? Why does everything have to be why does everything have to be about some man? Why do I have to marry somebody that you picked? She screamed. I remained calm. You're going to be a royal concubine, Hyun-ae. We're not dumping you off to just anyone. There's no better man. I don't know if you were already engaged in the past, but your parents would do the same if they could. It's what's best for you. They would want this. No, they wouldn't, she shrieked. They want me to grow up. They want me to be an independent woman. That's what Mom and Dad thought was important. I don't want it to be a concubine. I don't care about marriage. An independent woman? They wanted you to be a whore? I asked, my patience ran as thin as anyone's would be. I didn't believe it for a second. My husband's ancestors were the monsters she was making them out to be, and was sick of this. Get out! I snapped at her. Just get out. Let's see if I can try to keep fixing, because I want to get both of them to start to be able to actually use the override terminals. Alright, and we're back. So I did a little snooping around on the internet just to find out a little bit about kind of like how the game works and why I'm not able to access mute. Turns out, with my entire rush through the power control, or like turning off the nuclear reactor that's about to go kaboom, turns out that disabling mute during that sequence completely shut her out. Like any path that I would have gone down with working on her, completely over with. There's no way to do mutes. Now I do know that there are different endings, so the ending that we're currently working towards, and the probably one I'm going to end up picking, is the one where Hyun-ae is happy and we agree with her and we and all that good stuff. So the thing is that we'll probably for later, because I did make a save at a certain point that I don't know how far back it is from the time that I opened it up and got into the reactor business. So we're gonna try to go at least for all of the endings. So right now I'm gonna be the nice guy to her. And then next time I'll be the douchebag. Oh no, I think that's only for the achievements. If I want to get achievements, I think the different endings, like I could be nice and then be a douchebag at the end for Hyun-ae. Then I can go on with mute, and then I can go on with both of them, but that requires doing a special thing. And then there's the one where I just ding dong ditch everyone. Anyway, let's go back to the access logs. So, drastic measures. Hyun-ae. The pale bride picked the worst possible days to even throw in another childish fish, refusing even to get dressed for her interview. This one was with the Emperor himself. Not even my husband was able to get her to listen. He had personally apologized himself for not being able to bring her on schedule, and lied about a sudden illness. You have to do something about her, I said to my husband that evening. She's completely out of control. I know, I said. That's quite clear. He looked so worried. I hugged him, and I tried to comfort him. Everything would fall apart if something hadn't been done. Couldn't be done. She threatened to say something stupid and dangerous to the Emperor, and we were both scared that she might. Maybe it's time to consider doing something drastic, I said to him. He nodded. I know, he said. I can only think of one idea. I do not like it. I would rather not. Even hitting her was far worse than what I would have wanted. He explained his idea to me, and I agreed that it was terrible, and I didn't want to, and I didn't like it either. But it would stop her from arguing, stop her from ruining her own life. My husband was always right. There is only one way. Are they gonna cut out her voice box? Sigh. Are you showing me this because you want to see more from her? That's not why. Yeah, I didn't think so. I don't know what to say. She was cruel, so cruel. Now that I've read her perspective, it doesn't change anything. Fine. She actually believed that she was saying. That doesn't make it all right. I hate her. I don't care if she's long dead. I don't care if I was the one who did it. I still hate her. I 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 hate her. Oh jeez, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to work myself up like that. It's just that you don't pity her, do you? Nope. Because she's a dick. Good, me neither. That's all I had to live with. Reading that, she wrote, she honestly believed that. It just reminds me how I ended up thinking how I completely gave up and believed her attitude. She tried to wear me down. She succeeded. She doesn't deserve pity, and I don't deserve what she did to me. I just couldn't never forgive her, ever. I'm really glad you understand. Sorry, I've calmed down now. It's just hard to think about even now. I really do hate her. I'm gonna read this over. for myself. Okay. Peace at last. Recently, the Pale Bride's temperament has improved immensely. It isn't simply that she's now quiet, it's that she's acting respectful and calmer. After rescheduling, she had an interview with the Emperor, and she was actually quite charmed. He was actually quite charmed with her. So happy for her own marriage sake that she's finally stopped resisting the marriage. It's all coming back now. A date that has been set for when she'll be sent to live with him. In the meanwhile, things at home were actually painful again for everyone. Actually, it's better than just that. I've been spending more time with her. Her own free will. I've been giving her advice for coping with marriage, and now the girl actually listens politely. Otherwise, there's little else to write about. I wish there had been better ways to go back to her behavior. But in the end, it seemed to be working out. I can't imagine how awful it would be if she refused to even leave the home and simply made life hell for us. Or worse, she got sent off and tried to pull any of that on her husband. She'd get sent back for sure. Maybe now things will finally start to come together for the family. I must admit, I doubt the optimism that Jung-sun expressed in the year 319. But now it seems that he was right all along. Of her own free will. I can't believe she actually said that. It's wrong. It's completely wrong. I can't believe that she could have possibly thought that. Just unbelievable. Let's go to block 7. That's where we want to go. Doing exciting. We gotta get this message here. Because there's gotta be something here explaining what the hell happened. So, dearest mother, my mother-in-law has relieved me of any responsibilities for looking after the Pale Bride. As a matter of pride, I felt bad that a simple child was too much for me to handle. But I can't. I'm glad that she's not my problem anymore. Now I can put my undivided attention back to where it belongs, onto my husband and his ambitions. Tell me, mother. Before I know, we didn't always get along, but I was never that bad, was I? Sure, we were both happy when I moved out. Well, perhaps I wasn't happy right away. I was more scared, but I'm sure you were relieved to have some space. But you would never have given up on me, right? I was never that bad, was I? Deep down, I worry. My husband seems content to take his time to have children, and which is a decision I can certainly live with. But what about when we do? What if we have a daughter? Will I fail with her too? I've been telling myself that it's not me, it's her. She's a particular unruly child. It's not ordinarily that bad. It's not, right? Please tell me. I have nothing to worry about. Please. You know, I never did like her. When I woke up, she was this awful person who kept saying the most awful things. Never as bad as mother, but still. I never really, didn't read any of her letters when I was alive, of course. But you know what really surprised me? She made an awful impression on my life. I hated her the most for so long, and she barely even mentioned me. All my suffering was just a minor distraction to her, nothing more, insignificant compared to her man. I sigh. There's one more from her. You should read, but I don't know how I feel about it. I don't know how to feel about her. There's one thing I keep thinking about, though. Just one thing. I have no idea what her name was. Okay, let's go back to the homepage. We have a new letter, I bet. The new promised young Sook's wife that we never learned the name of. Dearest mother, today the Pale Bride finally left home to live with her new husband. She isn't a primary wife. There is no fanfare or ceremony for her departure itself. So instead, last night we had a special big feast to commemorate. I know I have said bad things about her before, but it's not just that I was happy to see her gone. She's been better since mother and father-in-law managed to keep her quiet, though it still leaves me really uncomfortable. She was always just a confused child. I hate the fact that my family considers her so important and neglects my husband. and I certainly hate her for not appreciating the status and fighting it. But the fact that she does not understand the world, I can feel for myself. It's not like I always understand myself. Regardless, it went very well. The big feast was my idea, and she was happy to help with the cooking. Earlier, she had spent the afternoon getting ready the dress she was going to wear when she arrived, with mother-in-law, and she seemed to be rather anxious about it. While we cooked, I opened the wine early and poured it for her. I think she needed it. I told her the same story I told you a while ago, about how I was scared when I first moved in. It seemed as though it was a lifetime ago, and yet despite all the strangeness, I have grown too accustomed to it. You'll eventually grow to love him. I promised her, just as you promised me all those years ago. Appreciate how good you'll have it. I don't really have any more to say about her. Okay. Yeah, it seemed kind of like an unimportant letter anyway. It says logs. What other logs can we get? Yep, needs questions still we can go over. Why do we have all but that last one? I didn't really read these because they don't seem that important. But please do not think that all of it is meant to see you'll be unloved. You may be a second wife, but you're still a daughter of my ancestors. Son. Oh yeah, this is the first letter I read. This is where I figured out that I needed to. Yeah, so I must have already shown her that already, so I have no more unread messages. What else can I read? Let's get to these questions. Are they actually still even any more important? Aha! Hey, how about this? Can't you just forget about her questions for now? I'm trying to explain. Please, look at the ones they just gave me. I already did. What did I not, like, interrogate you about? It's gotta be in block 7. That's the one I was just at. The new promise? Wait, did I not read that? No, I read that. Yeah, this is the one I gave her because I was trying to. No. Independent woman. She's an independent woman who don't need no man. Oh. So, we have no more to say about Young Sok's wife. This one? Did I give her this one? There was one big fight I had with her. The one that changed everything. The one I finally lost. My diaries make it sound really dramatic. I know I was young at the time, but I really was. Just read it. It's exactly how it went. Am I gonna do a letter? Aha! Less than. There we go. Dear Diary, everything managed to spiral out of control so quickly today. I wasn't planning on it happening this way. But here's the point where I make my stand. I guess it sounds dramatic. It sounds dramatic, but I won't let them marry me off to some stranger. I won't let them. Just before dinner yesterday, Mother told me that I had to go do an interview with some man, the Emperor, I guess. For all I care. The way she put it was, I'd get a chance to see that he is a man that you could fall in love with, or something stupid like that. As if. I said in response, and I spent the rest of the evening thinking about what I could possibly do to make it clear that I won't let them do this. This morning after breakfast, sister-in-law showed up in my room. Good morning, she said. Today's a big day for you, isn't it? Mother-in-law wanted me to help you get dressed and all made up. You'll want to make good first impressions after all. I glared at her, and I summoned all of my courage to say no. I said, what? She asked. No, I'm not going. She left, and Mother came in. Mother herself came. This was it. I told myself this was my big moment. I'm not going, I said. Before she could say anything, I'm not going to get dressed up. I'm not going to meet him. And I'm definitely not going to get married, I shouted. For a moment she said nothing and didn't move. Then she left too without saying a word. I thought that would feel good, but it didn't. It just made me worry more. I couldn't have possibly won that easily, I thought. I hadn't. Of course, after a few minutes she returned with father, who looked incredibly angry. Min Jung says you're refusing to get ready for your interview, he said. Yeah, I stammered. I'm not used to talking to him. I won't go, and I won't get married. He walked over to, in just 2 strides and then glared at me for a second. I had no idea what he was going to do. Then he slapped me in the face so hard it knocked me over. Yes, you will, he said. I'll drag you there, kicking and screaming if I have to. My face in so much pain, I forced myself to sit back up. I won't, I said, bracing myself for the hit again. He did. Yes, you will, he said. I can't keep this up. It already hurts so much. I couldn't just brave that out. Then it came to me. If you make me do this interview, I said, I'll tell the Emperor you've been conspiring behind his back. It was all I could think of, and it was all I could do. And all I could do was cross my fingers and hope that the threat worked, and it had. He glared at me, and in that moment, I knew it worked. The two of them looked at each other, and they both left together. That was 3 hours ago. I don't know what's going to happen now, and I think my face is swollen. It still hurts. I didn't want it to go that way. So that's me, making my stand. You've read it. You've read almost everything now. I know you had faith in me. I promise, and I promise it hasn't been misplaced. There's just one more thing. I don't think you'll be surprised. You seem smart. I'm sure you already guessed what it is. Still, go ahead. Ask it. Ask the obvious question. What is the obvious question? No, come back here. I'm stupid. Go ahead. Ask it. Ask the obvious question. This one? That wasn't the question I meant, but... Well, I think you're a good person. I think you make a good friend. Is that the answer you're looking for? No, not really. What then? What did you expect me to say? You feel more strongly? I don't, that's what you were saying. I just think you have a friend, nothing more. I got shut down by a fucking computer program. It's just that I'm answering your questions because I'm in love with you. It's not like I'm answering your questions because I'm in love with you or anything. Ah, Jesus, not really. I don't really. Can we please get back to the big question you wanted me to answer? I mean, it sounded like you wanted to hear the answer. It's not like I want to prove myself to you just because I like you. I think you should just, you should know. Just please ask it. Okay, what other questions do I have? How much do you respect? What do you really like? How old are you? How do you feel about Mute? We already know why we killed her. She killed her. Is that what I'm looking for? I don't know what you're getting at, but that's not what I meant. The obvious one. When you fuck. Oh wait, no. Yeah, I guess it is the last one, isn't it? No. Why did you kill those people? I guess we'll go with this one. Because why did I kill them? Here, you want to know? You want to know what could make me look at my father's face and be so filled with so much hatred? You want to know how I could possibly think my whole family deserved to die? If you haven't already guessed, here's my last diary entry. Just, I can't say it myself. Can't bring myself to even now. Just please read it. I thought we already covered the idea of why she killed those people. Forever silence, or not? Alright. The Pale Bride. Dear Diary. The evening where everything went wrong, where I thought I was going to win with my adopted parents, well, I didn't. I lost. Making my stand, I wrote, just hours before, happened. Yeah, right. When I got called into the kitchen, they were both there. One of the stove burners there was a knife. I thought it was a little bit odd, but I didn't care. Father stared at me, and I said, "The fighting needs to end," and said the fighting needs to end now. He was so sure of himself. Of course he was. He had every reason to be, but I suddenly stood my ground and said no. I don't want to hurt you, he lied. Just promise to be less argumentative, and this can end peacefully. But I just had to fight back. I just had to say no. I just had to remind him I wasn't joking. I really will tell the Emperor that you hurt me, and that you plotted against him. No, he said, you won't. He motioned at Mother and said, bring her over. She grabbed me and I tried to dig my feet in, but it didn't work. Then Father pinned me against the wall, his whole body. I kicked and screamed, desperately trying to get free. There was no use. He was big and I was small, and sick and weak and frail. Then he grabbed the knife from the stove and shrieked in horror. No, I screamed at him, don't! Then Mother grabbed my mouth and held it open. I tried to scream, but I was powerless and terrified when he raised the knife towards me. I thought he was going to kill me. It was worse. Next thing I knew, I could taste disgusting flesh as he stuck his fingers in my mouth and pulled. I'm sorry, Mother said. Then briefly I could taste the steel. Then nothing but blood. All I could taste was so much blood, nothing but blood. Oh, they cut out her tongue. Okay, I was thinking like they cut out like the voice box, or they just did something to disable her vocals. Finally, they both let go of me. I collapsed onto the floor. Why, I wanted to say, but I couldn't. I blacked out from the pain after that. But just before I did, I could swear I heard him. You'll never argue with any man again. He was right, of course. That's why. That's why I gave up. That's why I wanted to kill them so much. Sorry, I had to. It's really hard to talk about. It's just I'll try. I'm sorry. I told you it makes sense, right? That there was a good reason. Please tell me you don't think I've let you down. I haven't? You mean you understand then? Yeah. Oh, thank you so much. I'm glad that really means so much to me. I'm so glad. I don't know what I'd do if you didn't think. Well, thank you. Thank you so much. I was terrified, so terrified. I thought you might not. I'm so glad. Thank you. Thank you so much. Alright, I have its eye. What? Wait, why is it okay, that jumped through like everything. Oh, wait, I have this text on fast, so if those are auto... Oh, it's auto hitting it, but... Ah, jeez, I'm in... There, I finally said it. Ah, this is so embarrassing. I know, it's that I'm being really silly, right? I mean, jeez. I'm sure you know, I know what you're thinking. You think it's ridiculous. You don't? Oh, that's why I'm in love, because you managed to happily surprise me at every time. I never thought I would find someone who understands me, someone who listens, who would hear my whole life story and doesn't hate me. You really have been wonderful. I know. I just wanted to spring on someone just like that. And I don't even know, I don't even know if you're even a man or a sort of woman who wouldn't have a problem with that and still unmarried. But if you are, do you think we might have a chance? Even just a chance? Ah! That's truly the most amazing thing I've ever heard in my life. Thank you. Thank you so much. I've been sort of thinking about this for a while, but it's a little embarrassing, I know, but... Well, we don't have to get rushed to get married or anything. I mean, I know how scary it was last time I was a wife, but really, it was just... I would really like, to be as an equal. Does that sound right to you? Wonderful! Oh, I really do love you. It's funny, isn't it? I know almost nothing about you, but I have no idea what you look like, and I have no idea how you talk. I have no idea what's supposed to be the most important thing about a person if you're a man or a woman. I have no idea how old you are, although I suppose you must be much younger, or maybe older, depending on how you look at it. or even if you have a name or where you're from, or I have no idea where you're from or even your name. But I know you take me seriously. That's that you understand me and that you don't treat me as something less than just for being a woman. I know you're talking. That talking to you makes me feel better than I felt in my life, and that's good enough for me. That's far better than I've ever had. So very well. You decompiled myself. I'll decompile myself now. That way you can just drop. You can just drop the terminal and type download to copy everything to your ship, including myself. It should only take a few seconds to do a complete transfer. I'll see you soon. All right? So this is how my sister-in-law felt on her wedding night. Alright, there we go. We beat it in the, what are we on, the 4th episode? Yeah, it looks like it. Well, we beat one of the endings on the 4th episode. Let's see, starting activation systems. Download will permanently terminate session. AI personalities is available. Download Hyun-ae and additional logs. Yes. Hyun-ae will be transferred. Preparing files. Oh, I didn't read the rest. Estimated download time 3 days, 22 hours, and 59 minutes. Can we run on power that one? We have a hand!